welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy, and today I'm doing another SMALLS review. A SMALLS is a board game that's easy to teach, plays quick, and is relatively inexpensive. Today I'm going to take a look at Lost Cities. This is put out by Kosmos and is designed by the one and only Reiner Knizia. So let's take a look and see what you get in the box. There's not a whole lot to Lost Cities. It's a smaller game. Thus, while I'm doing it in the small series, this is a two-player game, so that might cut this game out for some people, but I actually enjoy it as a two-player game, and this is all that you get in Lost Cities. You get a center piece, and this divides the table in two, so your opponent sits here, you sit here, and then you just get cards. So what's Lost Cities all about? In essence, you're an adventurer going on expeditions around the world. But just like reality, you can't go on every adventure because maybe you don't have all the money and all the time in the world. And then you don't know if those expeditions are going to be valuable or not. So each one of these spots on the board, in essence, represent a different place around the world that you are going to be exploring and going on an expedition. At the end of the game, you add up a certain score of points, and whoever has the most points wins the game. So how do you play? It's really simple. On your turn, you're going to play a card and draw a card. It's that simple. But here's how it works. Each one of these places represent an expedition. And on your turn, you have, at the beginning of the game, each person's going to have 8 cards. And so you look through these cards, and these cards range in numbers and colors from 2 up to 10. And so there's a different color for each spot. So there's a red, green, maybe that's black, blue, and yellow. And on your turn, you're going to play a card. You want to try to play the lowest number possible that corresponds to a color. So you want to go from lowest to highest, because on the following turn, the next time you play a card here, it has to be a higher number than the one that's already there. So if I played a 2 here, the next yellow card that I play in this spot has to be higher than that. It doesn't have to go sequentially, so I could, if I wanted to, play a 10 there. That wouldn't be that smart, but I could if I wanted to. So maybe I didn't, the next card that I had was a 6. You could do that because it's higher than the previous card. And so you just keep going in order until you don't have any more cards till the game is over. The only other kind of card that there is in the game is a multiplier card or an investment card. And so you play this card on the table before you play anything else. So before I could play any cards in this row, I have to play this investment card. So this is a gamble, and I'll tell you why. Because each one of these multiplies what you get in this row. You say, well, that sounds great. Why wouldn't I want to do that? Because there is a way in the game to score negative points. And if you score negative points, then the multiplier or the investment card also goes towards that. I think there's 2 or maybe 3 multipliers for each color. So let's just say that I played another multiplier in this round. It would be not just times 2, but times 3 for my score in this row. So how does scoring work? Scoring works by adding up the numbers that you have in a row. So in this particular one, I had 8, 10, I had 26 points in this row. But there's always a cost to go on an expedition. So you always take the score that you add and you subtract it by 20. So for this particular one, I actually only scored, what did I say, 26? I only scored 6 points. Now, if I would have had the multiplier in there, I would have scored 12 points. But let's just say that I didn't make it to 20. Let's say that I didn't have this 8, and so I only scored 18 points. Then I would have scored -2, or if I had the multiplier, -4. Now this could really hurt you if you don't end up getting any cards for that color. You could really be hurt bad. But what about if I don't place any cards in a row? Do I lose points for that? You don't. If you don't start an expedition, you don't have to pay for it. So in essence, this one scores as 0. So what you're really doing is trying to decide which expedition do I want to go on, and am I going to make it at least past 20? If I'm not, then it's not going to be worth going down that route at all. So the game plays back until all the cards are drawn. Once all the cards are drawn, then the game is over and you add up points. So you can, even if you want to, look at the draw pile and see how many cards are there and maybe decide if it's worth it. Do you think there's enough cards in that pile there to get what you want? And you have to keep in mind that your opponent is going to be drawing a card every time. So really, however many cards there, divide that by 2, and that's how many rounds you have left in the game. The game plays really quick. I think the box says that it plays in 20 to 40 minutes. I definitely say that that's true. There's not a whole lot of components to the game, so the value has to come through the gameplay. How does the value add up? I think it's really there. I think, again, he's a brilliant designer, so he knows just how to play a game. It's just a game. It's a good mechanic. So at the end of the day, the theme doesn't really come through a whole lot because you're just adding numbers. And so that you don't really get pulled into the theme as much as you get pulled into just the game. I'm just playing this game. I'm trying to decide, what am I going to do? And do I have the right cards? And, oh, they're playing on the same one as me. Then maybe that's not a good thing. Or, all those kinds of things you think through. Plays quick enough that you want to come back and play again. And I really like this for a 2-player game. This is something that my wife enjoys, so we can sit down and play this. It's not complicated to teach. I get into it pretty quick. So I definitely give this one a green die. I say go buy it and add it to your collection.